I'm at 434 Montgomery Street. This is in Miamisburg. Doing a sanitary lateral inspection for the purchase of a home. We're looking for any structural issues, root intrusion, anything that may be of concern to the buyer. The only access point we were able to find is a clean out, a risen clean out in the front left corner of the basement if you're facing the house. There is it looks like cast iron above ground. I expect there to be clay below the floor, and we're going to first check to see if we can go both directions, hoping that we can go back into the house so we can check some of the piping under the house. But looks to me like it's going to force me to go only towards the street, and then we'll look for a few things and hope that there may be another access that we don't see, because I see just immediately as I'm dropping in, kind of looks like some buildup and almost looks like it's wearing out the bottom of the cast iron. And cast iron is a really hard material to tell how much life it has left in it, just because it does rust. And so you're trying to, it's really hard to gauge because it all does rust, so it never really looks good from the inside. There's not a whole lot of buildup right here, but this slow running water and the channeling that it creates in the bottom of the pipe is sometimes hard to gauge. And the fact that I can only go out towards the street, so we're going to try to look around and hopefully we can find some other way to access it from the further back, so we can inspect some of the line under the floor. But we are limited to our access in this point, or in this situation. And so we are going out, and it looks like we've switched over to clay, which is normal. We have cast iron, probably about a 3-inch, 4-inch cast iron that usually goes out into a 6-inch clay line. So you have a little bit of water here. It's nothing to be worried about. That's fairly normal. That lens is only about a 1/2 inch off the bottom of the pipe, so that's not much at all. As you can see, there's a large tree sitting on top of this, and we already have some root intrusion. And this is not down in the flow line quite yet. It looks like the flow line is fairly open. I'm going to try to create a little channel here and see if we can get this to the water build up, see if we can get that to dissipate. So it is holding a little bit of solids there, some toilet paper. Looks like it's all breaking down, but we do have some root intrusion here. It's about 15 foot here, as you can see on the. It is not 15 foot from the clean out, it's just 15 foot on the camera, as this footage is counted by the rotation of the drum. It's not actually where the camera is. But I am able to locate exactly where the camera is if necessary. So we have another little bit of roots here, and this is normal. These sections are 3 to 4 feet. Every 3 to 4 feet there's another connection, and so roots in old clay lines are relatively common, actually. Have a little bit of water, still hasn't reached as we push. It's no more than about a 1/2 inch of water in a 6-inch pipe, so that's not a major problem. It's pretty minor. The water should be able to overtake that little bit of a belly fairly easily. That's why you're not seeing a bunch of solids built up. Here's some more roots. This is a pretty good lengthy, they call this this looks like a taproot. This is I don't know, this is a bundle of small finger roots, it looks like, but it's making its way. That's a good 4 feet of roots there in between a couple sections. that's going to have to be cleaned, definitely. And it's something that will need to be maintained in the future. As long as that tree is standing, you're going to have to monitor and periodically clean the line to make sure that the roots, you know, are out of the way and not causing an issue. As you can see, there's some stuff that's caught on these roots, and I'm trying to push through it and then allow the water to drain behind it. Now I did see that could be, can't tell if that's a piece of tree roots. You can see there's an awful lot of tree roots here. And that looks like a chunk of grease, but I just want to make sure that that's not a piece of pipe that has come off. And it looks like a chunk of grease. It's pretty hard to identify though. Because from what I could see, structurally, the line looks pretty good. You can see we've made it all the way to the main. I'm going to try to push out into the main for a minute. Try to clean the lens off a little bit, and then as we pull back we should be able to see better and not have any water build up around it. And so mainly all I've seen is some roots. I haven't seen any structural issues, but there are situations with those roots that you can't really see the pipe behind the roots until those are cleaned. And so a lot of times in these situations I recommend a cleaning. You know, you clean the roots out, and then you could take another look at it, do a reinspection if necessary. A lot of companies that do cleanings should offer a free camera afterwards. If not, you know, you could always have it reinspected and make sure that those spots where the roots are getting in aren't causing more damage. A lot of times it's just finger roots, smaller roots that are able to get in between the connections. The packing they used to make the connections deteriorates over time and allows those roots to get in to find, you know, food and water all in one place. And so it's a pretty large bundle of roots, but it does look like smaller roots. It doesn't look like one very large one. Looks like it's just got in at the connections, but you won't be able to tell that 100% until you have it cleaned. So, trying to clean off the lens a little bit here and there. It just gets hazy for a second from the grease and the roots holding on to stuff. A little bit more roots. There's some roots, and these are down in the flow line enough to where those could catch stuff and cause a backup. So I would recommend that this be cleaned before occupancy is taken. Back into the cast iron. They're coming vertical, and this is the clean out. I am going to actually run some water upstairs in the rear of the house. I'm going to pause the video for a second, but I'm going to just witness some flow just so we can make sure that there's a good flow coming through the interior pipe, since we can't, since we're not able to get the camera to go backwards, or I don't think we're going to find another access point, but we'll be able to see, just how well the water is flowing through the line from the further upstream lines coming from the back of the house. Okay, I'm going to run some water through here. We're just going to kind of witness it a little bit and make sure it's all coming through clean. It's definitely kind of hard to see that spot right there on the edge. You can see it wearing away a channel, and you just don't know how much of that's left, if that's all the way through or if that's just a buildup there on the bottom. It's going to be something that you want to monitor, and possibly create an access point in the rear. There is a stack in the right rear of the basement if you're facing the house, but it is behind some drywall, and there's no access big enough for really for anything other than like a sink machine to clean it. It's a bunch of 1-inch pipe, but because that does kind of look like a channel worn out in the very bottom of that cast iron, so it's something that I would definitely monitor, just to be sure that it doesn't rot all the way through and rot through the cast iron. But like I mentioned before, there's really no way of telling how much life is left in that. In there, just because it rusts. Sometimes it rusts from both sides, the inside and the out. So again, you just want to monitor it. It is flowing freely at the time of inspection in this area. Like I said, you did have some spots in the flow line with the roots, so that is definitely going to have to be cleaned before it catches some solids and causes a backup. But it's going to be what I recommend. I'm going to say you need to monitor the cast iron to make sure that it stays intact. Maybe take a look after another 3 to 5 years, and just kind of monitor both the cast iron, and then once you have it cleaned recently, you want to also have it you want to monitor the amount of root growth out there to see how often you want to treat that, to keep that from causing any future issues. But that'll end the inspection at 434 Montgomery Street.